Last week, the fellas got eliminated. This week, we're switching it up. It's the ladies' turn. I'm also switching up my location. As you see, I'm in a different place. Kind of also switching up how I do the format of my reviews. Let me know what you think. But anyway, let's get into it. One thing that most men want is peace, all right? And it just doesn't seem like Ida can deliver that. It's like every time you see her, she's disrupting the peace of a man who's sitting there talking to another woman and, interjecting herself. So now he's sitting there one-on-one conversing with somebody. She comes in and butts in. That's just it may be nice. She may be, funny about it, but it's still a disruption nonetheless. Therefore, she's breaking his peace. Now, don't get me wrong. I get it. It's a competition show. You have to get in where you fit in, and you got to, make your move and make your mark. However, all the men, and I say this all the time, whenever you see these group interactions, you may be, going on with one person, but the other people are listening in. They're ear hustling. They see how you move. They're watching you. So it's not a matter of necessarily the person that you're sitting next to that she's trying to squeeze in. I think she did it with AJ or whatever. And I want to say David as well. So it's not necessarily just them specifically. It's the other people, the other men who are watching how she moves and be like, nah, that ain't the one for me. I personally do not understand people in their late 30s, their 40s, their 50s talking about abstinence. I get it. If you have deep, religious values and that's what you wish, that's so be it. It just doesn't make no sense to me. I mean, especially if you got 2, 3 kids talking about, well, I ain't doing that. No, you can slow down. You can be like, hey, let's get a couple dates in before we take it to that level. But, what you're essentially doing is you're putting sex on the table in the very first time that you're meeting them. That's essentially what David did. So you have 2 extremes. You have some people like, hey, first date, let's talk about abstinence. You're talking about sex. Or on the first date, hey, let's talk about doing it. They're talking about sex. Either one of those extremes is not good. Okay. So, but also I just don't get it. I just, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Let me know if you agree. If I'm off base, just let me know, because that's just how I feel about it. The dudes this season, with the exception of Troy, seem to be genuinely and earnestly looking for love, ready to love. And you definitely see that right there in the breakdown with Ida and Diedrich, where Diedrich, he discerned like, yo, you just nervous. That's how people all have, deal with that nervous energy differently. Some people shut down, others start cracking jokes. People do different things. And, Diedrich said that, hey, you're just nervous, man, calm down. However, Ida just has that frenetic, that frantic energy where she just can't calm down or seem to relax and just get into the zone. So even when he was trying to get her to relax and to have a conversation, to engage with him, that way he can learn more about her and just, really see who she is, still didn't happen.
The woman the men just haven't connected with is Ida.
It's like, damn, they just cut to a commercial break, come back. It's like, bye, Ida, she's eliminated. Now, it was kind of abrupt because usually, that they show Tommy talking to either the fellas when they're getting ready to eliminate one of the ladies, or vice versa. He talks to the ladies, gets them in a group, or at least you see some one-on-one where he's like, hey, what do you think? None of that happened. It's like, hey, Ida, you gone. The fellas say you don't want to be here. It's a wrap. Now, she's obviously, embarrassed and, lashing out a little bit, cussing the dudes out, because y'all said, quite honestly, based on every interaction that we've seen with Ida, it's honestly been the same. Don't get me wrong. I like her energy. I love her sense of humor. It's just not working in that particular, in this show, in this format. So I understand why, she was eliminated.
Hello, AJ.
Hello, Alexis. How you doing?
You're so handsome.
Cool as well. Let me
Sexy
see.
chocolate.
Sexual chocolate.
Yes.
Okay, boots.
You know, wait a minute.
Boots.
It's better when I take the jacket off.
Oh, she got
Like
superhero pants on. I see. I'm just saying.
What's fascinating to me is that AJ never once brought up her physical appearance. He complimented her outfit. Looking at my notes here, he said the boots. He complimented her boots. He said her superhero pants. It was, what's her name? Alexa. She's the one that brought up the physical. She's the one that introduced that, because not once, not twice, but 3 times if you count the fact that she literally took off her jacket and turned around and said, let me quote her exactly, "You like that?" So that way he could see her butt. I mean, so, you know, if that's the way she moves, remember, she's the one that's always said, all men want me for is sex. That was what she said, I want to say, in the first or second episode. But, you know, if that's how you move, if that's the energy you put out before they even sat down, she's basically moving it into the physical as opposed to, you know, keeping it light where you know you get to learn a person. Honestly, I see why why her complaints about, well, actually, I understand why she's saying that men always want sex from her. She's literally putting it on the table from jump.
The leather was a nice touch with the thigh-high boots. I was not mad at it at all, but I definitely want to get an opportunity to see what's there outside of her looks.
Honestly, this is how most men think. Don't get me wrong. We want the physical. We want to be like, oh, snap, she's banging. You know, that's fine. And men are different. Some men are attracted to different things. We get it. However, once we get past the physical and start holding a conversation with you, we want to know that the mental, that the mental matches the physical. And that's usually where the problems come in. You know, it's like no matter how you look, you know, if the personality's trash, then all we see is trash.
Have you ever done counseling?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
They're good. They know all the right questions to ask. That
A
woman
good one does.
broke me down. I'm crying and stuff. Yeah, but I'm grateful that I did that.
Okay.
You already know what I'm gonna say. Y'all know I'm serious about getting some therapy. Oh my God, I am so glad to hear David say that, and you can see in Kira's response, Kyra, in her response, that she liked it as well. Don't get me wrong. Think about it. If he had showed up to that date with her dragging his leg behind him, talking about, yeah, I was in a car accident, 20 years ago. I ain't worried about getting it fixed. I'm gonna let it heal itself, and he can't even move it. She'd have been looking at him crazy. We'd have been looking at him crazy like, bruh, why didn't you go to a doctor? The same thing goes for therapy. If there is something, and I don't use the word broken, but if there is something that is off, something that you need help with, you go get help for it. And that goes with your mental and emotional well-being as well. At this point, I'm not really sure what Troy is there for. Well, it's kind of obvious that the one thing that he seems to be out there for, but it seems to be more ego-driven to see if he can. Anyway, before we get in, this dude, I'm telling you. Like I said, though, leading with sex is only going to get you so far, all right? And if you don't have anything of substance to offer, sooner or later, that's going to be shown, and people just going to turn their back on you because that's not what they want, especially on this show.
What's your favorite international destination?
I can tell you what a place I want to go, like Brazil.
Oh, I want to go to Brazil too.
Spain, a lot of places in Italy.
Romantic.
Yes. Could be one of our first dates.
Okay.
Conceive our first child there.
For a dude that's always talking about traveling and going to a beach with a woman or whatever, when he was asked a direct question about what's his favorite international destination, you notice he didn't have an answer. Instead, what he did was he said, no, these are the places I want to go. The reason why is I'm sure, uses that traveling line with women all the time. However, it wouldn't have worked with an actual flight attendant who may have been to one of those places and could, basically catch him in a lie. So a couple things that you do as a reformed player is, one, you either answer the question with a question, meaning like she asked, so what's your favorite international destination? He's like, man, I've got so many. What's yours? He could have flipped it on her. But what he said was, what he did in this case, though, was he just started listing off different cities, different places until one resonated with her, which was, oh, Italy. Oh, that's romantic. Boom. He seized on that. Yeah, it's very romantic. And then just like Alexis, he cannot keep sex out the conversation. He has to throw in some kind of innuendo. Now, the difference between Alexis and when she had the one-on-one conversation, especially with AJ, it was a one-on-one conversation. So the innuendo was just with him. With Troy right here, though, this knucklehead's sitting in between two women that he has a quote-unquote connection with. So he's trying to do the schmoozing, me and you can have a baby, whatever the stupid ass thing that he said right there is. The difference is he's in between Andrea and Amber. So and Amber's listening like, this man, F this dude, and everything changed for her.
Better not be no dry ass bechamel.
Oh, baby, ain't nothing dry over here. It's nothing but moisture, okay?
Again, Alexis was coming on real strong and aggressive.
That's some sexy cheese, baby. Yes, honey.
Just not my thing.
Once again, another gathering. I'm telling you, what dudes do is we watch how you move. Remember, we're hunters. I know I've been wearing this analogy out, but if you watch those nature shows, you see the hunters, the predators. Let's just use lions. They look at the whole pack of whatever. Anyway, they look at the whole pack of antelopes, whatever, right? So the hunters are moving around and they're watching how the herd moves to try and find that one particular prey. It's the same thing. Even though, Alexis wasn't directly talking to AJ, he's watching how she moves with the other men. Because honestly, if you're looking for a wife, you want to see if the woman is the woman is moving like a potential wife. And obviously she's not, according to AJ's standards. So it's like, I heard those concerns and complaints that Alexis made that all men want are sex. Oh, they just coming after me. They see all of this, but the only thing they seem to want is sex. That's all she seems to be offering. She's a cool woman, very friendly, very bubbly. But if you're coming with sex and putting that card on the table, don't be surprised when somebody picks it up.
We should do a date, trust me.
Okay. Really?
No, yeah.
So I'm very surprised you're saying that.
Like for real, yes.
I really like the energy between Diedrich and Tessa. Now, they really do seem to be feeling each other. One thing about Diedrich, the dude is intense as hell, right? The way he just be like, damn, bro, calm down. She be all right. You know what I'm saying? He's a very intense dude, and he's also very driven on his mission to find love on this show. Because based on what we're seeing, the dude is very intentional with how he moves, and Tessa is the same way. She is matching that energy because she's there for the exact same reason. So I really like the energy. I like the way they vibe together. I'm hoping to see more of them and see how they develop and see if there's a connection that really forms between them two.
Have the best personality of all of the women. Now, that technically could be a bad thing, because you ain't never heard no man say, man, look at her personality. That's just not typically what they say.
This isn't necessarily true. I mean, there's some women, it's like they just have this aura about them. Like, okay, what's the deal with her? Like Erykah Badu comes to mind. There's something about her. She's not necessarily just gorgeous, if you will. She is a beautiful woman, don't get me wrong, but there's just something about her energy that whenever you see it, it's like, yo, what's the deal with her? You just want to do that. Now, to Tressa's greater point, because I do understand what she's saying, most dudes ain't gonna just walk into a room and be like, oh, damn, shawty over there. Well, I bet she can hold a great conversation. Man, she probably gonna make me laugh too. Boy, that personality she's right. That's not necessarily how men think when we see a woman. So I do understand what Joy is saying. It's not Joy, excuse me, Tress is saying. The reason why I mentioned Joy is, you remember Joy from last season? She had that same energy where she was damn near wearing a burqa the whole, season. It wasn't last season, but it was the Last Resort. So, Joy kind of had that energy too. Now, it may have been the hair that caused people, the men to look at her, to be gravitated towards her, but it was a lot to do with just her energy and her personality. So I definitely understand what Tress is saying. We are physical beings. We are attracted to the physical. However, there are some women that it's not just literally their physical, it's the aura, their presence about them.
Over there and grab a bite.
Sure.
Okay.
Then she left me to go talk to Dietrich.
I still don't think it was a good idea for Chris to agree to go back on the show. I understand why they did it. However, he's not new. So therefore, the women kind of know him, so he doesn't really have a chance to make a genuine connection where the women get to know him from scratch. So even though he had an advantage where the women do, know he's a known quantity, it still doesn't necessarily give him the advantage long term. And in fact, it's kind of detrimental to his success, in my opinion.
I'm a little salty, but.
Oh. You don't know, look,
I was talking about the food.
I did jam AJ up a little bit, but in my opinion, rightfully so.
Backtracking, that's why I'm not a fan of it. That's why I'm a firm believer in when you leave somebody or when that person leaves you, you move on. All that second chances, let me see it. No, because what we see here is she's still holding a grudge over what happened with their second date in the past. And no matter how much you grow, no matter how much you work on yourself, no matter what changes you've made, that person still has the image of you when y'all were together back then, and they're not able to see the real you now. You're not able to grow, to mature, to learn, to elevate. So that's why I'm just not a fan of backtracking. There's a reason why when you leave somebody in the past or they leave you, it needs to stay in the past. You need to learn from that relationship, grow and move on. Don't go back.
Let me tell you something, dude. I ain't about to apologize for shedding no tear, bro.
No, not at all. Not at all.
He don't owe me nothing, bro. I wanted to go help him out. I don't think, it has to be just us looking for a woman. We can look for brotherhood too, you heard me? So that's why I'm mad with that, you know what I'm saying?
There are some grown men on the show this season, and I am here for it. It is so heartwarming to see, to see real black men, not the stereotypical caricatures that we see daily, that they want to blast us with the same lame ass images of black men. I love the fact that we have a group of men who are they're lifting each other up. They're, congratulating each other. And just, like Troy said, it's not even about, we're here just to find a woman. Of course there's competition, but think about it. I don't care if it's the Super Bowl or the NBA Finals. The losing team, they still they shake hands, man, because just to get to that point when you're on the same journey, you recognize that and you lift each other up. And I'm so glad to see that. This right here is such a real representation, a real, oh my God, it shows all these dudes being vulnerable. It shows them, being compassionate to one another. And I'm just glad that we can see that on TV.
When we as black men start caring and supporting each other like this.
Yes, for sure.
You will be surprised how much better we will be.
No doubt. Absolutely.
And we're not stepping on each other to get to the top. When we all are supporting each other like this, that's what I want to see.
Boy, Tommy is so right on this one. If we are able to come together as a community, and the men are the leaders, the head of the household, and we can do that, we would be unstoppable. It's like we have been broken apart for you so many reasons. I mean, the list goes on and on. One thing I learned in the Army, right, and just, Art of War, reading certain books or whatever, the one thing that you do in any conflict is you disrupt communication, because what you're trying to do is you want to make sure that the enemy is not able to be unified, because a unified enemy is a powerful enemy. So what you do is you disrupt the communication, you try to fragment the enemy so they're all in small different pieces, because guess what? It's easier for you to take out a smaller unit than it is for you to take out a full army or, a full division as well. There's more people, they have more resources, they're fully supplied, they're well rested, because now they can it's a whole different battle. And that's what we've seen time and time again is for black people, especially black men. We've been divided and, we're all over the place. But if we come together as a unit, and just starting with the smallest unit, the family unit, where we're there, it's going to make us as a whole, us as a people, that much better.
Well, you gotta kind of at some point find out where you are, and a little kid peck on the cheek, and I go for the cheek now.
Do you think the kiss on the cheek might be a bit too soon? Like on first day of meeting somebody?
In some instance, for some women, it might be.
Along the same lines, every season, sooner or later, we start seeing the men holding the knucklehead of the group, for lack of a better term, accountable. All right. We saw that in season 1, where the dudes were like, yo, Aaron, you moving reckless, son. And we saw it last season with Brian. Now, it may start out because the dudes don't really know each other. So they start, may just start laughing, because we know antics when we see it. All right. So, you see them start laughing, you see them shaking their head. But as the season, once the season progresses, you start hearing the comments like, bro, what you doing? Why you moving like that? Because, like I said, previously, once you start bringing the unit together, nobody wants to have that knucklehead, on their team. You've seen it in sports. You see it in, if you have a group of men, no matter what the endeavor may be, the weakest link is going to be checked, because that weakest link is going to bring everybody down. And what we see here is a group of men that seem to want everybody to elevate. So sooner or later, we're going to see Troy's bad behavior get called out by the other men if he survives further down the line on the show. Tressa and Andrea found themselves on the hot seat for elimination, and ultimately it was Andrea that is no longer ready to love. She's eliminated from the show. Honestly, I'm not really surprised about that, especially after that first interaction with Ron on the last episode. So Andrea joins Ida, who was also eliminated earlier in the episode. So now the field of couples on the show is now even, where we have 8 men and we have 8 women. So next week, I'm really looking forward to it, because I will be back home. Right now, as y'all can see, you probably can't really see, I am in the great city of Dubai. I tried to record this thing yesterday, y'all. That was a huge mistake. It was hot as hell, man. When I tell you, Satan walked by and said, man, it's too hot for this shit. I'm going inside. I need some AC. I was like, yeah, let me wrap it up. I'll just do it early in the morning before the sun decides to stretch and wake up and it starts baking out here. I really appreciate y'all. I'm doing things a little bit differently when it comes to the reviews, because OWN is kind of cracking down on the copyright, et cetera, et cetera. I ain't trying to hear that. I love the show. I love, Lord knows, even though this season started out a little rocky, I was like, man, it's gonna be some BS. I kind of see the potential, and I'm starting to be a little bit more engaged. I will be back home next week, so I'm gonna be able to do my reviews at the house like I've been doing, and I cannot wait. I appreciate everybody's support. Like I said, I've been on my honeymoon. We traveled to a few different places, try to do my reviews there, because I just like doing them. So I look forward to seeing y'all next week. And once again, thank you for your support. Y'all stay determined. Have a good one.